All right. I guess once I get on a certain tip, I like to stay there, at least for some time. So we're going to keep talking about the manosphere and Kevin Samuels. But before we get into all that, I wanted to address a comment from Journey something or other. If you're not black, mind your business. See, this is exactly how bad ideas get spread by people who, well, are too emotionally triggered to be able to think for themselves. It is what it is. This is how bad ideas get spread and how people polish turds. So I checked the dude's channel and he's into the manosphere, right? And a lot of the videos that he likes are talk about women, right? Is he a woman? And why isn't he minding his business, right? I mean, the heights of hypocrisy of people who say this, right? I mean, if anybody likes to talk about anybody, in my experience, having grown up in Chicago, right, it's black people about white people. Openly, loudly, and all the damn time, right? I don't have a problem with that. Never did. It's kind of curious, whatever. But this idea, and you see it everywhere, right? Like in boxing, for example, people will say if you've never boxed in your life, then you don't get to talk about boxing, even though there they are talking about boxing, having never boxed in their life. I mean, it's just like, really? And since in that video I mentioned the black male criminality, right? Which, well, just for the record, got my bicycle stolen, got my garage broken into, it got held up at gunpoint one time. You know, I could go on and on and on and on, right? Mind my business. Eat a dick, moron. How ignorant can you be? Anyway, so this guy, we're going to go on a bit of a tangent here. He thinks he's black, right? This is how bad ideas get spread. So, he look black to you? Does he? I mean, he's kind of black, right? I guarantee you if he took a DNA test, he would be a good 30% European. He sure as hell got those features, right? Really light skin. It is what it is, right? So this is how the whole, idea of identity being whatever I want it to be came from, insofar as I could tell, right? It was the one-drop policy. It's a really, really bad racist idea that black people took on board, and all of a sudden it became virtuous, right? So by the virtue of the fact that it's a different colored people spreading the same bad idea, it having become virtuous all of a sudden when it was considered completely and utterly racist when white people did it, right? Well, what does that tell you? Well, what's the relevant difference there, right? Skin color. How is it not racist to do this then? Do you catch my drift? And for those of you who don't know what the one-drop policy was, or a comb test, for example, right? If you were in any part black way back in the day, right? 1/8, maybe 1/16, I don't remember exactly, right? You had that one drop of black blood, you were considered black, even though you could have been maybe 98% European, 2% African, you were considered black, right? This is just ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense, and it's a really, really bad idea, and it was considered racist for a good reason, because it completely and utterly rejected and denied who you actually were, 98% white, right? To call that black is just stupid, right? It's wrong, and it completely and utterly undermines that which you actually are, right? But then black people took that idea, and they were brainwashed with this, so maybe they can't help themselves, but they love this shit now, right? You got all these light-skinned men and women running around doing everything that they can to make themselves appear or sound more black, right? Just because somebody in the family was a little bit black, right? So they think that they are, because it's one drop, right? So the only relevant difference in spreading this bad idea, with this bad idea going from racist to supposedly not racist anymore, the only relevant difference here is skin color, right? When white people did it, it was bad. Now that black people do it, is good, right? How is that not racism? Right? If the only reason why a bad idea becomes good is because black people are spreading it now, right? The relevant difference here is skin color. It's racist as fuck, idiots. But, you know, these people are brainwashed. They don't fucking get it. And let me take another sip of my coffee. Another bad idea that gets spread with this nonsense is this, well, in a sense, it is identity politics, but it's this, I identify as, therefore, that's what I am, right? Boys identifying as girls, women identifying as men. Now you got people running around identifying as vaccinated, right? None of that is really true. It's not who they truly are, but simply because people say they identify as such, you have to respect that, at least in most cases, right? And by the way, I like how some people are using that to their advantage now, poking fun at this idiocy. But how is this dude black, right? When clearly, I mean, and this could be said for all black Americans, quote unquote black Americans, right? And maybe to some degree it makes sense. But at the same time, you know, if you're not 100% black, then you're not black, right? You're something else too. You're mixed. It is what it is. So to be, and you'll see people that are like 80% something else than black. They'll do these DNA tests and they come back and they act all shocked and shit. When you could just look at them and be like, yeah, you ain't black. You're just a little bit black, right? So this is, at least for me, where this whole idea came from. This really, really bad idea where people think that they can be that which they identify as. And from that, you got, you know, boys identifying as girls, so they have to be that now. It's the same exact retarded idea, people. But you'll have, you know, these so-called more traditional or manly or evolution, you know, red-pilled men who are supposedly on the right politically, right? Pushing Marxist ideas. That's how fucking dumb people are. And another thing real quick, this whole idea that you gotta be something to talk about something. Well, how about this? I'm human. I'm gonna talk about human things. Right? That's your logic. By your quote unquote logic, you're not making any sense. Okay? And it's just a shaming tactic, right? Another one of these leftist, progressive, usually consider that, right? The right does it just the same. They do everything the left does. They're just not aware enough to be able to understand that. The differences between the left and the right are really trivial. They do this. They do the same shit. Remember Don Imus or all the canceling that's been going on as of late, mostly of people on the right. But then when Cardi B or whatever the fuck her name is comes out there with her WAP song and performs it on TV for, you know, all the families and kids to see, and the right comes out bitching and moaning and crying about that, right? Now, I'm not saying that they're necessarily wanting to cancel her, but I mean, it's the same kind of an attitude, and now the right coming out being like, oh, she has the right to do that, but not in this particular setting, right? family or whatever have you setting, they're essentially asking to cancel that person too, right? Now, I got no problem with canceling, but it's really about, well, why are we canceling people, right? Like, I got no problem throwing people in prison, but why are we throwing them in prison, right? Does the punishment suit the crime, basically? But you know, the right will cry about getting canceled, and then they'll turn around and want to cancel the left too. It shouldn't be about canceling. It should be about, and to a certain degree it should really just be about what's right and what's wrong, right? But they're just mirror reflections of one another. And it's the same game psyop has been going on forever. It's like US versus USSR. Come on, man. The idiocy of most people out there is just, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a pompous prick, but it just fucking gets to me sometimes.